Hi my YouTubers, it's me and What's Up Mel's channel. Hi my YouTubers. Today's video is going to be about my top 10 80s favorite movies. My first one that I'm going to start off with is number 10, which is Better Off Dead. I'll put a clip in so you can see the picture of the video. And this movie, what I remember about it, I'm looking at some of the pictures right now from the scenes in the movie. It's one of my favorite ones, and I chose for it to be number 10 because it's a movie about let me see if I remember, a young American teenager who's learning. I put some little notes here so I could remember what to say, so and I don't forget. Okay, it's about a movie of a young American teenager who's learning how to move on after his long life girlfriend dumped him, and for the captain, I believe it was the captain of the ski team. Yes, I'm looking at a picture. The captain of the ski team, and he decides that he wants to like attempt to kill himself and suicide himself. But because he wants to win her back, so he figures out ways to try to win her back, but she's still in love with the other guy. Typical girls in high school, they're with the guy, and then they decide whatever, they find something better, and then they want the other guy. So he finds out that there's this foreign student, like from France, I think it was. I think her name is Monique. Let me see. I see some pictures of her. Yes, Monique. And she's a foreign exchange student, and she comes to move into his neighbors across the street. And these neighbors are very, very obnoxious. It's the mom, and I forgot the mom's name. And then her son is Ricky. He's like this chubby guy. I'm looking at it right now. He's this chubby, annoying guy, and yes, she moves in with them, whatever, and then he begins throughout the movie, when he finally meets her and stuff, Monique, he kind of starts getting some interest in this foreign exchange student, Monique, and falls in love with her. And then he falls head over heels, like I say, for the new girl in town. So the girl, she cannot stand, by the way, the mom and this Ricky, because Ricky was trying to make the moves on her too, and Ricky's just not like her type. So yeah. Then the girl, like throughout the, like in the, like towards the middle of the movie, I think, Monique, the girl, she helps Lane. Lane is the character, the main character in the story, which is John Cusack. She helps him to rebuild his 1967, I think, is the car, his 1967 Camaro. And she gives him a more confidence, because she talks to him and stuff, and gives him confidence not to kill himself, and that things will get better. And and then Lane, after all these conversations and stuff, he talks to her in the dance. They go to this high school dance, and he talks to her and stuff, and then he falls head over heels over her again, like I said before, and he tries to win her heart, and he kind of like forgets about his ex-girlfriend. So he takes her on this great date, which I remember a lot, because that's like one of my favorite parts, to this burger joint place where he worked at. And I remember that he did, like, he plays like the saxophone. I think it's the saxophone. Let me see, I'm looking at the pictures here. The burger place is like I don't know if it's burgers, I don't know what it is. It's like a pig, like the theme is pigs or something, I forgot. But he plays, let me see, because I'm trying to look for the scene where he where he takes her on that romantic date, because there's so many pictures. But anyway, he takes her on this romantic date, and to the burger joint place, and he plays the saxophone for her. I think it was a saxophone. I want to say it was a saxophone. He plays the saxophone for her, and then he, you know, it was very romantic. He had like a candlelight dinner and stuff for her, even though it wasn't like this fast food place, but it was really, really sweet and cute. And then all of a sudden, like, there's a part where it turns into like these animated 3D kind of cheese, like the cheeseburgers come to life, you know, and then they start, like, you know, I guess hinting like it's them falling in love, you know, and the two cheeseburgers fall in love, and then they dance, and he's, you know, the cheeseburger boy, you know, does cutie things to get the cheeseburger girl to fall in love with him. I don't know, it was weird, but it was really cute how they connect, you know, the animated, you know, cartoony part to the real life movie. So I like that when, you know, movies do that. They switch from, you know, sometimes a cartoony base, you know, from the real life, I'm sorry, and then they put, like, you know, 3D cartoons and animated stuff into it, which is really cool. And then I believe, like, towards the end, yeah, they stay together, Monique and John Cusack's Lane character, that's his name in the movie, and they stay together and stuff, and they fall in love and whatever. And then he takes her, like, at the end to this huge baseball field with his the car, and then they kiss and stuff. And yeah, he, you know, he forgot about his ex-girlfriend, and then he, you know, he fell in love with this new girl, and that's it. You know, it's a typical teenage movie. It's really cute. It has a lot of funny scenes. You know, there's a part where the mom, they're having dinner, and they put some kind of, something happens. She had, like, John Cusack had, like, this liquid thing in a jar, and then the mom of Ricky drinks it. She smokes, and then her face blows up. Oh my god, it was really bad. And then his parents are very kooky and crazy, and they dress up for, like, Christmas, because it was during Christmas time, and the mom's really weird with her cooking and stuff. And the little brother, he's such a little, you know, typical little tiny little brother, you know, when he bothers his older brother. And then there's this kid that he owes, like, the newspaper boy, he owes him money, and he's always like, $2, chasing him throughout the movie. But it's a really great movie. It's a funny movie, and this is why Better Off Dead is my 10th favorite 80s movie. Now I'm going to move into my 9th favorite movie, and the 9th one that I love is License to Drive. I'm just typing here on my computer because I want to see, like, pictures. You know, I remember the scenes and stuff from the movie, but, like, sometimes when I look at the pictures, it helps me to remember some of the parts that I forget. So my number 9 top favorite 9th one is License to Drive. This one is really funny as well. This is about, and I'm going to put a clip of the movie, you know, the cover of the movie. And this is about a teenager. He's about 16 years old, I believe. Yeah, 16 years old in the movie. I'm not sure. His name is Les Anderson. And he goes on this adventure, this wild, crazy adventure, by the way, one night, to get his high school sweetheart, the girl that he's in love with, you know, the love of his life from high school, to go on a date with him, you know, and to go out with him and become his girlfriend and stuff. And I believe that her name is Mercedes Lane, which is funny, because it's, you know, that's her name. You know, he has, like, a bunch of pictures in his room of Mercedes and cars, and he's so into, because this whole movie is about him trying to get his license, and he goes through all this trouble to get his license, and he fails the test, And then he, you know, they examine. Then he has to his friends convince him that, hey, it doesn't matter, you failed your test, okay, whatever, let's go on this joyride at night. But his parents are like kind of, you know, the father and the mom are very upset because they needed to buy insurance and buy him a car, and they were like upset kind of with him. And but in a way they were like glad at the same time that he didn't get his license, which is weird. But he decides, because the father's father, which is his grandpa, comes and leaves the Cadillac, this nice classic Cadillac, I think it was a Cadillac, yeah, a Cadillac that he had. And he leaves it to the father, and then Les decides to take it one night, and while the parents were sleeping, by the way, the mom was pregnant and stuff, so the dad was preoccupied with her. And then at night they're sleeping, whatever, and then he takes the car secretly. He sneaks out of the house, typical teenager. He sneaks out the house, and then he picks up Mercedes to take her on a date, and she decides to tell him, oh no, let's go on to this party, whatever, because she was trying to get over this other guy that she was dating and stuff. And she takes him over there just to, you know, get back at the guy and whatever. And then she comes back and she starts getting the bottle. Like she took a bottle from the party and started drinking, and she got drunk. And oh my god, when she got drunk, that's where everything went crazy that night. And he didn't know what to do. He had to take care of her. And then at the same time, his friends wanted him to for them to get picked up by Les, I mean. And he picked them up because they wanted to go to some, you know, Sonic looking place, like a burger place as well, but it looks like Sonic, where the girls, you know, rollerblade and they bring you the food and stuff. And I forgot the name of the place. Maybe there's a name here or a picture. They might show a picture, I'm not sure. And I don't want to scroll through all of this, but what was the place? I forgot the name of the place, guys. Yeah, I forgot. Okay, but anyway, he takes him, and then because his friend wants to go to this place, and then yeah, no, he says no, he takes them, but then they get into this trouble, whatever, over there. And then they go for the joyride with him. At the same time, Mercedes is like drunk in the back of the car, and his friend starts taking pictures of her boobs and stuff. Oh my god, they going through all this trouble. And poor Les, he goes through all this trouble where there's this one scene where this drunk guy, because they were pulling in through a street where the cops were putting people on the side, and then the drunk guy confuses his car or something. They get off or something like that, and the drunk guy gets into his car, and oh my god, and the drunk guy pukes into his car. It was crazy. But not his car, his grandfather's car, the nice Cadillac that he had. And he gets into all this trouble at night, and it was crazy. What else was I gonna say before I forgot? Oh, then there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, I forgot. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Okay, he gets into lots of trouble, and then you know, to continue the story really quick, finally he makes it home or whatever, and his parents see the car, and his mom is like about to give labor to twin babies. And oh my god, it was crazy when the parents saw the father mostly saw the Cadillac, his father's Cadillac. He almost went ballistic. But then he told him about the story, whatever, and then Les drives them. But the car was so messed up from the whole night and all the crazy adventures that they went through, and that it would only drive backwards. So Les had to drive backwards in the car to take his mom to the hospital. At the end, you know, everything, you know, whatever, Yeah, everything was fine because the grandfather comes back and sees his Cadillac and he goes, "What the heck? What is this? What car is this? This is not my Cadillac." And then the father is like, the grandpa. They show a scene where I guess he had borrowed the BMW or something, one of Les's cars, the car that was gonna be for Les, and he had destroyed it too. So like it doesn't matter because Les all of a sudden when they're talking and whatever arguing outside, Mercedes comes with her car and then Les tells her it doesn't matter. I don't need a car anymore because Mercedes had a car and he drives whatever, and he goes, I have a Mercedes, which yeah. The whole thing was that he ended up anyway with all those adventures, getting the girl at the end, and he got Mercedes, and they became boyfriend and girlfriend. So that's awesome. That is my 9th favorite movie, from my top 10 80s movies. My 8th one is The Goonies, and if you see, I have the Goonies shirt, which this is a shirt that I bought a long time ago, and I really, really take care of it because this is classic. I mean, this movie is super classic. This 80s movie, they call themselves the Goonies, and it's about a gang of kids, they're like preteens. They all have different ages. Preteens who live in the Goondocks. The Goondocks, Melissa? Yeah. They're called the Goondocks, and they are trying to save their home from being destroyed, from these hotshot guys, and one of the guys is the father of one of the boyfriends of one of the girls that the main character's older brother wants to hook up with her, whatever, and then he's like, they hate each other and stuff, but they want to buy the Goondocks to put up a business, I think it was a country club. A country club or some kind of businesses around there. And the kids discover that all these they go up to throughout the movie, whatever, in the beginning they go up to the father. The father had like all these interesting artifacts and things and treasures and stuff and cool stuff from the I think he works in a museum or something, and they discover these treasures that from the father that he had up in the attic, and they're very old, from years that the father had collected from the museums and stuff where he goes on all these other adventures and stuff. And then they discover an old Spanish, I think it was an old Spanish map that they find, because it says something in Spanish when one of the characters is reading it, and the map leads them to all these adventures, this great adventure to I don't know, they had to go through all these places to get to this cave where they had discovered that there was like a big huge ship, and it was a Spanish ship, and in the Spanish ship there was a pirate. His name is One-Eye Willie, and he was like a legend during his time, and he had all these treasures and jewels and coins and things, all these treasures that are worth money. And they were like, okay, you know what, if we go and get this treasure, we'll have the money to pay back, to keep our home safe, the Goondocks, and they don't have to tear them down or whatever, because I guess they were having some issues, with financially to pay to have the Goondocks, being there in the small town. So then they go on this adventure, and they find the ship that has the One-Eye Willie in it, and a lot of them they go through all these crazy adventures. First they find the Fratellis, which are like these bad burglar criminal people, and in the beginning of the movie, and they had killed a man or something, and the Goonies discover that, and then they go down to where they in this old house or restaurant, actually, that it was a restaurant, and they go down through it because there was like a opening, like a secret opening or something, and they go down, and that's when they go in through underground, you know, and they start discovering, you know, because under the old abandoned restaurant was connected to those caves where the treasures that they found up in the father's attic had like a special skeleton key and the map, and it would tell them and lead them to those caves, but they had to go through first that old beat up restaurant, and they were underneath it and underground, and then they went underground and they went through all these adventures and crazy things that happened to them and crazy things that they had to, you know, kind of save each other from. And then the Fratellis found out that they were doing the treasure hunt too, from Chunk, my favorite character, Chunk, the chubby boy. He opens his mouth and says what they were doing, and they had like this brother that's kind of deformed. I think his name was Sloth in the movie. And yeah, and but he's really kind-hearted, he's so sweet. But yeah, he was like deformed and stuff, and they would treat him bad and stuff because I think the mom dropped him when he was a baby or something. Poor guy. Anyway, and then yeah, he Chung tells them, and they go after the kids and stuff to get the map and the treasures. And then Chunk and Sloth also go after them to help their friends, you know, his friends and stuff as well. And oh my goodness, it was crazy. That movie's so funny. I could watch it all the time. I've watched it like since I was a kid, like I would say 1,000 times. I don't know. And I could always watch it over and over again. It's like one of those movies that, you know, you could keep watching it over and over again. I don't know. I'm just that type of person. Like, you know, I just love 80s movies. They're like my favorite. I grew up in the, you know, I was born in 77, grew up all throughout the 80s and stuff. So I love these movies. They're just fantastic comedy movies, and you know, they make you laugh. You know, they have adventure, they have you know, romance in it. You know, they have you know, some scary parts, and you know, some exciting, thrilling parts. So I love the Goonies. It's very classic movie. I would love to meet all the Goonie characters. You know, the people, the live people, the real people who the actors and actresses. And I think it's awesome. I think this movie is awesome. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it. The Goonies. The Goonies, one of my like favorite ones, but it's the top 8 movies that I like. And now for my top 7, which is Beetlejuice. Just typing. So I can see the pictures, like I said, to remember give me, you know, my thoughts back, you know, remind me of the parts that I liked, because I remember it, but sometimes I forget some of the scenes. So Beetlejuice, this is a really funny movie. I think it was in 1988 when I read something about it. 1988. It's like a fantasy, weird horror kind of movie. I don't know, it's not gory, but it's funny, but it's horror in it, and it's, you know, I would say weird and fantasy, because like the crazy things that you see in this movie is too much. And whatchamacallit, Michael Keaton in this, the main character Beetlejuice in this movie. Oh my god, he's so funny. So funny in this movie, and I love it. It's classic Beetlejuice. Who doesn't love Beetlejuice? And like I said, it's about a couple who they were very happy in this small town, and let me see, the couple they were happy, and they were like building their home and fixing it or something like that, and they decided to go into town to get some tools and stuff. The husband, he told the wife, oh, let's go into the town to get some tools and blah blah blah. And because they were fixing their home, like I said, and on their way back home they get into this car accident, because they had to go through first they go through the bridge and everything was fine, but then they go back home the same way through this covered bridge, and there was this dog that they saw earlier. You could see it earlier in the movie. He was crossing over through the town, and it was because of this little dog. and they didn't want to kill him, like they didn't want to run him over. So the husband was like driving, and when he sees a dog, because the dog crosses over through in front of the car, he didn't want to run him over, so like he loses control of the car, and he falls. He breaks through the bridge, and through the cupboard of the like the house. It's like a house, like a house, a wooden house, and he breaks through it, and then the dog is like standing, I think, on a plank that of wood that's kind of holding them up in the car. Is weird. I don't know how that little dog and the car, you know, from falling down was holding it, but the dog decides to jump off for whatever reason, and then the car goes boom and falls down into the river, I think it was, into the river. And then supposedly it shows that they, you know, that they had died. And then all of a sudden it goes into a part where you could see that they're coming back home, the couple, but they're coming back home not quite the same as when they left their house in the beginning of the movie. And they, oh my goodness, they get they figure out when they get to the house, because I think the main character, sorry, it's a hair, the lady, she, like, for some reason they were like all wet and stuff, and they were trying to get warm, I think, by the fireplace, and she puts her hands into the fire, and all of a sudden her hand, one of her fingers or something, they catch fire, you know, like she was making fire or something with her hands. And she's like, oh, what is this? And then they start noticing that when they look themselves in the mirror, they can't see their reflection. They're like, oh no, we're ghosts, you know, we just died and we became ghosts, oh no, blah blah blah. And then they, you know, they realize that they were ghosts. And then their house gets sold to this family, because they found out that, you know, that they had died in the accident, the people in town, and they sell the house to this family, the Dietz. I think they're called the Dietz. The Dietz, yeah. Their last name is the Dietz. I'm trying to remember, because I'm looking at the pictures and stuff. And yeah, the Dietz. And then the mom, she's like really crazy. I think her name was Delia, if I'm not mistaken, in the movie. She's really crazy, and she's like a sculptor, but she's like really out there. And then the dad is I think he works in real estate or something, because they show like this model that he built and stuff. And the dad, I think his name was Charles, yeah, Charles. Now I remember, I was thinking of a scene that I remember from the movie, Charles. And the daughter is Lydia. Her name is Lydia. And oh wow, I think it's Winona Ryder that plays the daughter. Yeah, Winona Ryder. I think if I said it right, I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Winona Ryder. I'm sorry if I say any of the characters' names wrong. Winona Ryder. And yes, her name is Lydia in this movie. And they're quite weird and strange and unique, especially Lydia. And Lydia, all of a sudden, like, you know, since she's all weird and everything, she looks up, like, she's outside when they come into the house, and the parents go into the house and whatever, and then they try to change the house to look more, you know, not like a small town, you know, kind of house, more like, you know, a modern city kind of house. It was weird, but with weird city, you know, I don't know how to explain it, like more modern, not country looking, because their house looked very country, and they wanted to make it more modern looking. So but very weird. So because of the mom, the sculptor mom, and she has like this partner, Ogo, I forgot his name, this fat guy. He's really crazy too. And they're like, he convinces her to change the house and blah blah blah. But to go back to Lydia, she was outside, and then she's taking pictures because she does photography, and she sees the lady, the ghost lady, and she's like, oh, how weird, because she sees them, and because, you know, she's weird and strange too, and she could see like dead people. So yeah. And then the ghost couple has to try to scare the family off, and then, you know, they have like this company come over, these people that are going to give them the money to do some, you know, the real estate for the father and stuff, and then they help out the mother with the sculpting or something. I don't know how it goes, but they decide to bring them over to the house and show them that they have ghosts, you know, in their house, because they like all that attention and all those crazy, freaky stuff. The couple, and that is sponsoring them. I don't know what they're doing with, helping them with something. And then I'm trying to remember. And then whatchamacallit, sorry, back to that scene. They invite him to dinner, and then that's like my favorite scene, where Delia, the mom, the ghost, the couple, decides to scare them off, and they do like all this funny, crazy stuff to make them sing and dance and move out of their chairs, and then they get these monster hands and put them on their face, and it was really funny. And Delia starts, singing Deo, Pisa Deo, and it was really, really, really funny. And that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And there's a lot of favorite scenes in this movie, but that's one of my favorite ones. I always crack up. I crack up like crazy with that part, because it's just funny how they make her, voice. They put their voice over her voice and stuff, and they make her have like this weird, crazy voice. It was weird. So and then they tried to scare them off to go get out of the house and stuff, to leave their house alone, but no, the Deets don't get scared that easily. So yeah, to make the story shorter, Lydia tells, they've discovered, actually the couple then goes and discovers that they're ghosts. Mami, no, estoy grabando. Ay, sorry, my mother-in-law had to go to the bathroom. Okay, so anyway, you'll see her passing by. Anyway, so then they what was I gonna say? I lost my thoughts. And they decide to scare them, but they didn't. The couple didn't get to scare them off. So then anyway, they discover Beetlejuice in the story, and Beetlejuice is like he's like this tremendous ghost that could scare everybody, anybody out of their homes or whatever. But he's very, you can't trust him all the time, Beetlejuice. So he decides that he wants to marry Lydia and whatever. Lydia's like, no. But then Otho, that's his name, Otho, the fat guy, the partner of Lydia's mom, decides to get the handbook for their recently deceased people, the handbook that was given to them and left in their house. I forgot to tell you that part. And they would read it and do like some spells to make them come back, to make the ghost couple actually appear to them, right? And then they start like dying and getting, dying their body and getting really weird and stuff. So then, and Lydia's like, no, and Beetlejuice is like, well, I could help them if you marry me. And then Lydia's like, okay, whatever. And they try to get married, but no, the couple decides to stop that Lydia was not gonna marry Beetlejuice. So the couple lady went and got like this sandworm creature that Beetlejuice hates, right? She went into this dimension, this crazy dimension where the sandworm was at. And I know this movie's really crazy and it's long, but it's really crazy, but it's really funny, classic movie. And she gets the sandworm and grabs Beetlejuice and, gets him out of the picture and stuff. And then at the end, Lydia is like happy, and then the family decides to agree to stay at the house, as long as the couple ghosts could stay there too, and they could leave them part of the house for them as well, like country style, and the other part of the house, and they decide to live together, and like a happy family. So yes, it was a great movie. So that is my number 7th movie, my top 7th movie. And then my next movie is number 6. Sorry that I made it so long. Beetlejuice is the Ghostbuster movie. I love the Ghostbuster movies. Always watch them tons of times. I mean, all these movies that I'm telling you about, I've watched them like 1,000 million times. So the Ghostbusters, yes, everybody knows the Ghostbusters, and I'm gonna try to make it short because the Ghostbusters is a long story. It's a science fantasy kind of comedy, and it's about like these three weird eccentric, I would think, psychologists, kind of scientist guys, and who begin a ghost catching business, right? Yeah, they want to catch ghosts, you know, and they built these guns and machines and stuff that capture the supernatural, you know, ghosts and stuff and supernatural beings. And then they start getting like popular and stuff and catching these ghosts throughout the middle of the movie. But then there's this building where this lady, her name is Dana, I think it is Dana. Is it Dana? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I don't know. It's Sigourney Weaver plays the character of the lady that Bill Murray is in love with, which is one of the characters, one of the scientists, and I think it's yeah. And this building becomes like possessed by these bad ancient spirits and stuff, and one of the spirit was named Gozer. I believe that this is number one, Ghostbusters, like the first movie. But I like Ghostbusters 2 and then the other Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters have to fight against these bad ghosts. And okay, she closed the door. Sorry about the interruption of my mother-in-law. And Gozer to save Dana and Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis was one of the other characters in the building, which was trying to always, you know, hook up with Dana to you know, to go on a date and stuff, but Dana didn't like him, wasn't interested in him. She's always been in love with Bill Murray, the character of Bill Murray. So from these you know, they have to save them for, you know, save Dana and Rick Moranis and New York, and basically New York City, from all these crazy ghosts and supernatural beings, and from the evil spirits and the god, the Gozer lady. And well, she's cool. She's really cool. And like, oh my god, there's so many favorite scenes of mine in this movie, in all these movies. Oh, and I love the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the big huge one that Dan Aykroyd, I think, is the one that, you know, summons him because with his thoughts, because Gozer told him, okay, who is gonna be the evil creature that's gonna kill all of you here in New York or whatever, or cause chaos in here. And he thinks of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and he's really cute. I don't like where they burned him, poor little marshmallow guy, but you know, he was evil in the movie. And yeah, what was one of my favorite scenes? Oh my god, there's so many funny scenes and favorite scenes in this movie, in all these movies, all the Ghostbusters movies. I can't think of, because there's so many. I don't know, what were some of the parts that made me laugh? I don't know, Rick Moranis, he's really funny in this movie, and so is Bill Murray. You know, he's really funny in this movie. Oh, and Slimer. I guess I like the scenes where Slimer comes out. Slimer, he's really cute. Oh, like the scenes where they go into the hotel and they destroy it because of Slimer, and Slimer goes into this hallway in the hotel, and then this black American lady, like, she's like the maid, one of the maids in the hotel, and she's like, what the hell are you doing? Because they get the guns and they fire it at her little car with all the towels and all the toilets and stuff. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? And it was so funny the way she said it, because I guess she didn't notice Slimer the ghost, and then Slimer comes after Bill Murray, and it's like, it's really funny. This movie is classic. Everybody knows it. A lot of people have seen it, and it's my top 6 favorite movie. And now my top 5 favorite movie is 16 Candles. Everybody knows 16 Candles, right? Yes. Now I'm gonna get into like these high school kind of movies, which is what I really like from the 80s. All those high school movies. So 16 Candles is my 5th top favorite movies from the 80s. And this movie is about a high school girl. Her name is Samantha, and she struggles to get through the day on her 16th birthday. and no one says happy birthday to her family because they were just too preoccupied with her older sister's wedding, which is gonna be like the next day or something like that, after her birthday and stuff. But they struggle, you know, and you know, she's like, oh my god, they forgot my freaking birthday. It was my 16th birthday. And even her grandparents that came over to visit for the wedding and stuff, to stay over at her house, they forgot her birthday. And she's like, oh my god, how can the grandparents? And she goes through to high school and all these scenes, and you know, throughout the day for her birthday, and she talks to her best friend and stuff, and she's like, oh my god, unbelievable, I can't believe that they forgot my birthday. And then at night she decides to go to a high school dance at her school, and then there's this Chinese foreign guy that comes over to a student also, who comes, he's in his program, and he comes to live with one of her grandparents, some of her mom's parents, yeah, her other grandparents, and his name is Long Don, I think. He's so funny, the Chinese guy. So yeah, she decides to take him to the high school dance and whatever, and then he, like, you know, discovers the high school, you know, American high schools and the dances, and the, you know, the teenage people that, you know, are in these high schools, and the crazy madness of how they party and drink and smoke and, you know, do all kinds of bad stuff. And then he gets into it too and gets into trouble. But anyway, there's back to Samantha, because the movie is about Samantha and her birthday and stuff, and you know, her struggles, because she falls in love with this guy, the senior guy. His name was Jake Ryan. Yes, I remember looking at his picture, Jake Ryan. And then she tries to talk to him, but she gets into all these awkward, you know, weird moments where she wants to talk to him but she doesn't, and she stays quiet, and he's like, oh my god, and, you know, he's like, she's not talking to me. And then, you know, he kind of likes her, but he has this like gorgeous girlfriend, whatever, that he's still with, and you know, but at the same time he wants to break up with, because he starts, like, you know, falling for Samantha and also, but like she doesn't know. And yeah. And then this geek, which I think his name was Ted, yeah, he was in another 80s movie as well, and his name was Ted, and he was one of the main characters in another movie that I'm gonna talk about, which it's called Weird Science. So yeah, he was the blonde boy. So yeah, and then he Ted, the geek, and then he helps her to get Jake, you know, Jake in the story, by convincing him that at his party, it was his party at his house, but it was the girlfriend that threw the party, and she was very insensitive and stuff with the party, and you know, with his house and his parents' home, by the way. And they destroy it. Everybody from the high school gets invited, and they destroy the house and stuff. And then yeah, they destroy the house and blah blah blah. And then yeah, at the dance, you know, whatever, I mean, they destroy the house and stuff. And then she finds oh, back to the dance, I forgot to tell you, one of the favorite scenes of mine is when Farmer Ted is talking to her in the high school shop, classroom, and he tells her, oh, whatever, because I am like the leader of the geeks and stuff, and I have to do something to be cool and the leader, and they, you know, they think that I'm hooking up with you and blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, how could we, you know, do something so that they think that we hooked up and we had, you know, sexual relations, and we didn't, but you know, would you give me your panties and stuff? Oh my god. And he goes into the bathroom where all these geeks pay money to see her panties. Oh my god, it's just too funny. Like, you know, typical high school from the 80s, you know, the things that they do, the high school kids and stuff. So yeah, love this movie. And yeah, then she, you know, to go back to like the end, she finds that Jake, you know, Jake at the party talks to Ted. You know, at the end of the party, everybody leaves. They leave the house like a mess, and she talks to Ted. You know, I mean, he talks to Ted, and he finds out from Ted, the geek, that, you know, when they were talking and stuff at the shop, this classroom, that that Samantha love, you know, she's in love with Jake, with him. And then he's like, oh really, whatever. And then, you know, he decides to break up with his ex-girlfriend, with his, you know, present girlfriend, whatever, the blonde lady, the blonde girl. And then Ted has to take her back home, and she's drunk and she's crazy. And then I guess, like, you know, the next day, which is the wedding day of her her older sister, then he finds her at the wedding and tells her how he feels about her, you know. Then the geek kisses Jake's ex-girlfriend. It's crazy. And then anyway, to get to the end of the movie, whatever, that I remember, Jake tells her, oh yeah, I like you too, whatever, blah blah blah. And he takes her to his parents' home. The parents' home was already, like, you know, he cleaned it up and everything was fine. And he surprised her with a cake on the main dining room table with 16 candles lit on the cake. And then he tells her, okay, go ahead and make a wish. And she goes to blow the candle, but she tells him, okay. She blows the candles, and he goes, oh, what did you wish for, whatever, or something like that. And she tells him, oh, my wish came true already, you know, which was to, you know, for him to become her boyfriend, you know. And they fell in love, and then they kissed, and her wish came true. Super cute movie. I love it. I love it. That's my fifth favorite, top favorite 80s movie. Then my fourth one is, sorry, Pretty in Pink. Another movie by John Hughes. I love a lot, like the majority of all the John Hughes 80s movies. I love them. Love them. Those are my favorite. So another John Hughes movie, and this one's Pretty in Pink, where this girl, a high school girl, and her name is Molly. It's Molly Ringwald, and her name is Andy Walsh, and she falls in love with this guy, Blaine, which I think is Andrew McCarthy, the actor, Andrew McCarthy. And then she has her best friend is Dale, Ducky, which he's my favorite, Ducky. And I think the actor is John Cryer, I think it is, yeah, John Cryer. And then her father is Jack. And then there's these other characters, the rich kids, which are really jerks, and they are Benny, which is the girl, and then Steph, which is the guy. And anyway, back to the story really quick to make it short, because I'm trying to make my video not too long. So she falls in love with Blaine, and, you know, blah blah blah, and she really likes him, but she's not this richy girl, you know. She's poor. She says she's poor. I think she lives okay. She lives comfortable. She lives in her home. She has her house. Her dad, you know, they take it, you know, they get whatever they could get, but, you know, she thinks she's poor and stuff, and then whatever. Like, she thinks that she cannot, you know, date Blaine because he's too richy and stuff. And then, you know, she works at this music record store or whatever with her other friend, the manager, and she guides her and helps her to get Blaine to fall in love with her and stuff. And then Ducky, you know, he gets jealous throughout the movie, whatever, you know, because he's in love with her for so many years, because they've been best friends for so many years, and he is in love with her, but he doesn't know how to tell her. And the thing is, he doesn't want to get rejected by her. So you know, but she's in love, you know, Ducky's in love with her, but she's in love with Blaine, you know. And then, like, throughout the movie, you know, they show how, you know, the ups and downs of how, you know, she was trying to get Blaine to be with her, and then all of a sudden they start dating, you know. Blaine gets some interest in her as well, you know, but he's like, you know, she's from one part of, you know, town, and he's from another part of town. And, you know, in high schools, there's a lot of, you know, cliques, and, you know, he's a richie, and she's, you know, she's like the regular high school kid and stuff, and teen. and you know, she's, you know, in her own little world with Ducky. So but she's not like rich or anything. So then Blaine, you know, his friends judge him a lot. Benny and Steph and all the other Richie kids, whatever, they tell him, oh no, why are you gonna be with this girl? You know, she's not from our group and blah blah blah. But he still wants to, you know, fall in love with her and get her. You know, he wants to date her, and eventually become boyfriend and girlfriend and stuff. So then yeah, the whole movie shows how he tries to, you know, win her. And then there's a part where he breaks her heart, and she's like, oh, it's because, you know, whatever, because of your freaking friends, and all you do is with your freaking friend. And all the other friends that are Richie, they don't want him to go out with her and stuff because she's not rich and this and that, whatever, you know, typical stereotype kind of thing from high school. And yeah, you know, he ends up breaking her heart. But you know, when they go to the senior prom at the end, or like towards the end of the movie, she shows up and she's like, no, I don't want anybody to know that, you know, that I got hurt or whatever, because I'm a bigger person. She tells the father when they're talking. And and then you know, he tells her, okay, look, I have always loved you. Blaine tells her, and she's like, oh my god, and she's like, her heart crushes again. And then she's like, oh wow. And Ducky, you know, he's a bigger man because he fell in love with her throughout the movie too. They've been best friends forever, but he didn't know how to tell her. So yeah, and then Blaine tells her at the prom, no, I'm in love with you too. So she's like, oh my god. And then, you know, Ducky tells her, no, go ahead, run after him. You know, we didn't come here alone, blah blah blah. And he's like the bigger person. He realizes that, you know, they were meant to be together. So Blaine and her. So yeah, she runs after him, and then in the parking lot she kisses him and they fall in love. Then that's my top 4 favorite. My top 3 favorite is Real Genius. Genius with Val Kilmer and the other character guy, and his character name in this movie is Chris Knight. And then there's Mitch Taylor, and they try to save the day because they were in college together, and they were building, like, the professor, Jerry Hathaway, was asking Chris Knight and Mitch and his team, whatever, to build this laser thing there, this laser machine. And it was like for some secrets in their science lab. It was because he was going to use it for some top secret governmental mission thing, and it was being used illegally to kill people from space or something like that, I think it was. And then they go through all these craziness things to try to stop it from happening, and they end up putting, you know, they find out that the professor was doing something really bad and trying to get them into trouble and stuff. And they programmed the laser to hit the professor's house right when they were doing this whole mission thing there with the government and stuff, and it hits the house, and they had put like a bunch of millions and millions of popcorns, and the popcorn destroyed the house and everything. It was really cool. So that is my top 3 favorite 80s movie. And then my top 2, my second one would be Weird Science. I love Weird Science. Weird Science is really cool. Just checking to see if it's recording, because my camera likes to turn off on me. So Weird Science, it's about a it's like a teenage comedy movie, and it has sci-fi in it, but a comedy, a lot of comedy. And about 2 guys, Gary Wallace and Wyatt Donnelly, I think it is, who create with Gary's computer. They create with his computer, his best friend's computer, Gary, a live woman, Lisa, you know, from a doll that she comes to life, and she helps these 2 guys. She helps them to become popular again, you know, because they were like these geeky guys, and they wanted to get the popular girls from school, from the other, you know, take them away from their boyfriends and stuff. So, because they really deserve the girls, not the other guys. The other guys are kind of douches. Did I say douches? They're kind of douchebags. So yeah, they hook up the doll with these electrodes, like these cables and stuff, and it's really crazy in the room. And then they put on these bras in their head. I don't know why. It's like a ritual. They were trying to do like something like Frankenstein, because they were watching a movie about how Frankenstein, you know, he came to life, and then the Bride of Frankenstein and stuff, really weird. And then they hack into a governmental computer system where it gives more power to the cables and stuff and to the hooked up doll, which makes her come alive, and they start inputting all this information to make her be the perfect woman. And then she comes to life and she has all these powers and stuff, and then she gets Gary and Wyatt into all these kind of troubles and stuff. But at the end, she teaches them, that, they have to love themselves, and, that everything will be fine, and people would just, like them if, they are the way that they are. If they, they don't have to, like, be these big shots or something to get people to like them and stuff. So, yeah. And then, my top number one favorite movie, 80s movie, is The Breakfast Club. Yeah. I love The Breakfast Club, another John Hughes movie. This is my all-time favorite 80s movie. It is a comedy drama film about the lives of these 5 teenagers. I believe one is a princess, one is a criminal, one is an athlete, the other one's a geek, and the other one's a basket case, right? So, typical kids, in high school, and, they all have, like, their little cliques and stuff. So, they each are a member of a social club or whatever, their cliques in high school, and it takes place in Shermer High School. I think it's in Illinois, somewhere in Illinois, Shermer, Illinois. And they spend this whole Saturday in detention together. I mean, it was from almost 8 hours or something like that, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. It was crazy. And they realized that there goes my mother-in-law again, that they're more alike than they let. She has to use the bathroom because the other bathroom is being occupied. Anyway, then they let to believe that they're like their parents. So they have this villain, which is like the assistant principal, and I think his name is Richard Vernon or something like that, and they make fun of him, and they make him go through all this back and forth craziness, especially John Bender, I think, the criminal guy, and he doesn't really like him. So he doesn't like none of them. He's just there, whatever, for his paycheck and stuff. The assistant principal, he's like kind of a douchebag also. So he instructs them not to speak or misbehave or something, and then they have to write like this 1,000 word essay explaining, to him who they think they are and whatever. And then the geek ends up writing it, and then they decide not to. They're not going to write their paper. So the geek decides, okay, I'm going to write everybody's paper. Whatever, we'll put it together. And he decides that they are called now the Breakfast Club, is because they started getting along throughout the movie and started to understand each other, better. And they get into all these crazy adventures through the library. They smoke weed, they run through the hallways, they sneak out, they escape from the library too, and Claire, which is the girl, Molly Ringwald, Claire, and then John Bender, whatever, she goes into this closet where the assistant principal sticks him in there and threatens him, which is not good to do when you work for the school. Don't do that. We are there for the kids, for the children, to educate them, not to threaten them. So yeah, and then whatchamacallit, so the Claire goes in there, and she starts like liking John Bender. He's like, why do you like me, whatever, blah blah. And then, she kisses him and shit, because the thing is that her friends always thought that she was such a goody two-shoe. She's like the virgin, whatever, the queen, the popular girl. So yeah, and that's why he's in one of the parts, he goes Queenie. He's making fun of her and stuff, because he really liked her. He just, whatever, he's from the wrong, he's like from a whole total different social, friends that he has that they're just criminals, and they get into trouble all the time, and she's not like that. She's like a Richie girl, she's a popular girl. So anyway, and they discover each other, the 5 of them, by talking and becoming friends at the end of the movie, and even lovers, because the athlete hooks up with the basket case, and then the princess, of course, hooks up with the criminal. And as the day progresses, they were in their, they just become friends, at the end, and they become like, the Breakfast Club. And I love all these high school movies from the 80s and stuff. They're like the best. So yeah, so that was my top one. So that concludes, those are my top 10 80s favorite movies, and I hope you enjoy my video, this video I made for all of you. And I try to make it as short as I can, but sometimes I could, you know, get into my conversations too much. So I look forward to the next video. So I'll see you really soon. Bye.